the secret to people being able to move forward with their health is to actually stand up and take responsibility for where they are.
Okay.
Not be victim, not in victim mode. It always happens to me, or my father had it, or my mother had it. I think it's 20% genes, 80% epigenetics, which is the environment we're living, how we're living.
Okay.
So we actually can't blame our genes so much anymore.
Right. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Everybody Knows. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Ben, of course, and I'm your host. And my guest on the podcast today is Kerrie Cox. Kerrie is a local here on the Goldie, or the Gold Coast of Australia. And so that means that I got to interview her in person, which was really fun. She also brought in some goodies for me, and so we had a bit of fun with that because she is a mind-body nutrition coach. I've never heard of a mind-body nutrition coach before meeting Kerrie. I met her through Gumtree, buying secondhand goods, which is something we allude to in the conversation. But when she started talking about mindful eating and how it impacts on not only our digestion but our overall health, I knew I had to have her on the show to hear more. Being mindful and present in your body and eating slower can not only increase the satisfaction you get from eating food, which then means you eat less, but it also assists your body in digesting the food better, metabolizing the food, releasing energy, and even better sleep. If mindfulness is something new to you, then we just break that down a little bit. Kerrie articulates that really well. I know for me, I have been practicing mindfulness meditation for a little while, so I know the concept well, but I'd never really brought it into my eating, and I'd never really thought about that and how it would impact on my body's ability to digest food. And so what she talks about is fascinating. It's holistic. It's listening into the body and respecting what it's doing and loving the body, which is all about what I'm about on this podcast. We go through a little eating exercise. She takes me through an exercise. She brought in a beautiful slice for me to taste. And just from practice of breathing and feeling the textures and tastes in my mouth, I'm really excited to continue using this practice in my eating and see the benefits. What I love about this content, and I know you're going to get out of it, is that you can start now. You don't need to buy anything new. This is simply a practice that you can start in your next meal and just sit with. And it's also not just about eating, but it's a whole philosophy of life about being present and our mind being the servant rather than the other way around. Body master, mind servant, rather than like we always live in, the mind as the master and the body as the servant. So you're going to get a lot out of this, and let's go to the chat now. Kerrie, thanks so much for coming down to the studio today.
Absolutely my pleasure.
I'm so excited to be interviewing somebody in real life because, you get that dynamic. You're in the same room. There's the same sort of energy, and I'm really looking forward to this. Wasn't it interesting how we met?
I was actually only saying something the other day in regards to this, and that there is never any chance meeting. No. Everything is for a reason. Mm. And do you want me to explain?
Yeah. Well, you're setting up a wellness centre, right?
I know,
and you need a receptionist desk.
So I'm looking for a desk thinking, today said I need to just have a look. So, of course, that was that impulse. And then up popped your desk. Mm. And then, of course, we came down to have a look at it, which now sits very proudly in our Health and Wellness Centre.
Great. I'll have to come down and
But
have a
then
look.
having a conversation about health, there was that connection immediately of something more. There's something more to this, So, there's nothing happens by chance.
Yeah. Well, of course, health is a journey that I've been on for 27 years now, since diagnosed with IBD, Crohn's disease, when I was 12. And now just recently, probably in the last 6 months, I've been putting together a plan to build this podcast to to go on my own journey to really breaking through to that next level of health. And so when you came in and started talking about what you're doing and the mindfulness aspect, the being in your body and how that impacts on your eating.
Yep, absolutely.
And not just eating, but everything. But it's kind of what, I mean, that's a focus of what you do, right? Is nutrition, but actually how you eat
It's the full picture, yeah. It is. We all think it's about food, and food obviously plays a part. Whether it's if you're having quality food, it will make a difference to your body. If you're having poor quality food, but there is so much more to it. Our body is just so. There is so much wisdom within our body. It can remember the first meal you ever had, the patterns that come in our body, and what's held in our body from our experiences is just huge. So if we don't consider our body and the journey we've had, and your metabolism isn't just about digestion, it's everything you do, think, say, all your actions, your movements, it's everything. So if we're just doing food through our head because it tastes good, our digestion is severely impacted because the majority of us are running in what we call the stress response, which means there's so much not happening in our body. Our digestion's, not working properly. Our immune system's not working properly.
And that's big for people experiencing chronic disease.
Absolutely.
In pain. That alone, let alone all the other pressures and stresses of life, it's just a compounding stress effect. I know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm often not present and with the activity I'm doing, let alone the food that I'm eating. So I was really intrigued to get you in and have you talk about that a bit more for the listeners and for myself, my own journey, just some of the things that we can do and implement throughout the day. I mean, meditation, mindfulness, it's kind of like a bit of a buzzword now.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's so much, and for me, I've been on the journey practicing meditation for probably 18 months now and experienced little bits of progress.
And it depends on the meditation.
Yeah.
If you're meditating to go and sit on a beach and listen to the waves, and you're not in your body.
Right.
It's taking you out of your body.
Okay.
So meditation
What do you mean by that?
Well, meditation needs to be connecting you into your body. So if you're meditating, you're back in your head because you're visually thinking of a picture.
Right.
So true meditation is where you're actually feeling into your body. You're feeling this gentle breath, the warmth on the tip of your nose when you're breathing in. The coolness on the tip of your nose and the warmth as you're breathing out. And then you're going into your body. So you're feeling, what's your body telling you? What part of your body is talking to you at the moment? Do you have a little glitch in the knee? You are then in your body. And that's where you want to be. You don't want to be meditating just to be escaping somewhere in your head because that's not supporting you.
That word, escape,
yep.
We can escape and go and watch a movie and that'll give us some sort of respite out of our stresses for 2 hours or whatever.
Well, it doesn't.
That's not what we're talking about.
It actually doesn't do that either. So for those people that sit in front of the television or the movie, now this will be a shock to some people and they might not want to hear it, but it is true, is if you're watching something, even a game or something, you can feel the tension in your body. So a movie where it might be violence or a movie where it might be scary or, the emotions that are happening, you're still in stress response.
Yes.
So you're going to a movie, you're in stress response and you're doing this with the food, your digestion's not functioning because you're in a stress response.
Right. Absolutely. I was feeling that last night. I recognised it. So that's one little tick for me is at least recognising it. But I was watching a fantastic movie, but I realised I was getting all tight in the chest and everything like that. Watching this thing, I'm like,
football, and my foot used to click. Get it.
I'm going to football tonight. Please don't tell me that.
No. But you can do these things as long as you're connected. Just feel your bottom on the seat or your feet in your shoes, or remain connected, but don't get emotionally caught up in what's happening. Yeah. Because that way you're not in control anymore. Your body's gone into stress response. And all these things happen in stress response. So, your cortisol's increased, your insulin's increased, you've got those extra hormones running around in your body, your cholesterol, your cholesterol can be increased with this ongoing stress response. So You've got all this happening in your body. So your head thinks it's fantastic. There's chaos everywhere, but you're not feeling the chaos in your body because you're not connected into your body.
Right.
So you can do everything connected into your body, and the quality that comes with that is phenomenal. But we do, and we'll use the word check out because we've had a big day, we want to go home, we just don't want to think about it, let's sit in front of the television.
Mm-hmm. And eat.
Look at your posture first. Like,
Right.
How are you supporting this amazing vehicle that we've got for this lifetime?
Mm.
So, and then you get up and go, my neck's stiff, that's the communication from your body. Hey, the way you're laying's not good.
Mm.
So, everything comes back to the body. And if you can move and come from the body, that way it will let you know when you're not living well before it gets to the point of that symptom or that diagnosis. You can actually shortcut and support yourself to actually change something, whether it's something you're eating or how you're moving or the energy that you're in, which then stops the progress of whatever that's leading to.
Right. So preventative.
Yeah.
But in your experience, have you seen it be, effective in treatment of conditions, both in the body, pain, but also, things like autoimmune, things like, what have you seen it benefit?
Possibly 95% of what comes through in dis-ease in the body.
Dis-ease.
Yeah, dis-ease in the body. There are those things where you've cut your hand and you need to go and get stitches and all of those sort of things. But, of course, if you're supporting your body and your immune system's very good, well, your healing's going to be less. And it's not that you're not going to get a bug. It's just you're not going to hang on to that bug for too long because your body's very healthy and you can, ditch it pretty quickly.
Your body's able to do what it's
supposed
designed
to
do.
Yeah. So things that come up in the body, and I've got a very good example because I've had breast cancer. And when I look back at my journey, and this happens for, I believe, a lot of women, is breast cancer's something that's happens a lot because as women, we don't put ourselves on our own priority list. And a lot of women will be able to relate to this. Everything else comes first. Everyone else's meals serve first, everything else is done first, and then if you get time, you might do something. So that absolute neglect and disregard of ourselves, and we need to step up and take responsibility because people go, well, that's selfish if you want to do this. It's not. It's actually the opposite. It's irresponsible not to take care of your body and look after yourself first because you are the carer of your children or other people. So that disregard came out in my body as breast cancer. So it wasn't to do with poor me, it's in the genes. It was, wow, how am I living that I've allowed my body to have to communicate like that? Because that's a communication from the body.
Right.
And what the body develops or how the body needs to clear through a particular symptom or diagnosis, the body can heal. So giving the body the right environment allows your body to heal because it's needed to clear however you're living through that particular way. So I didn't have chemotherapy. I didn't have anything like that. I did have a mastectomy because, knowing what I know now, I would not even have done that because that is such a severe thing to do to your body. But through looking at how I can support my body to be healthy and what I need to give my body, the environment I need to give my body to be healthy, is able to clear what it's had to develop due to the way we're living. And that includes things like the toxins we're breathing in and just everything that's coming at us at this particular time with pesticides and preservatives and things in foods. But I think the the secret to people being able to move forward with their health is to actually stand up and take responsibility for where they are.
Okay.
Not be victim, not in victim mode. It always happens to me, or my father had it, or my mother had it. I think it's 20% genes, 80% epigenetics, which is the environment we're living, how we're living.
Okay.
So we actually can't blame our genes so much anymore.
Right.
We can take responsibility for the way we live.
Right. And it's not, in a sense, it's not blame, it's not a judgmental, it's not, you've given yourself this illness.
Absolutely not.
Because I've been in that mind frame.
Yeah, no.
And even from a religious perspective, in some seasons of life, I've felt like I don't have faith enough to be healed, or I'm not doing everything right, or I'm, and there can be that judgment, which just is a spiraling, compounding,
it's
toxicity.
Absolutely.
That just doesn't help at all. It's not blame we're talking about here. And we're talking about just taking responsibility. And if you go into blame, it's self-attack. Right.
It's stress in the body.
Right.
So again, we need to look at, I guess, where the energy's coming from.
Yeah.
It's fantastic to separate the behaviours to the actual person, the essence of the person. So we're all equal in essence. It's just sometimes we go into a behaviour, so that's not the person. So you've made choices in your life from where you were at that particular time. It's like your parents. If you have this judgment, or you're holding a judgment against your parents because of the way they might have treated you or where they were, that's just where they were in their life. It's not who they are. It's just what they did at that particular time, which was the energy they were in, because that's where they thought they needed to be. So to actually hold that in your body and not release that, and it's judgment against yourself, which builds up more stress and more ill health in your body. So it serves no purpose. It's just wow. And my favourite word is fascinating. And a lot of my clients, I go, right, your favourite word from this day is fascinating. Fascinating. What was it that made me choose that?
Okay.
Or
as opposed to
happened?
That's terrible, or
oh, look at what I did, I'm really bad.
Yeah.
So it's being a detective and looking at how you're living, just to observe, becoming an observer, and with no judgment whatsoever. So as an observer, you have no judgment. You're just observing and going, oh, okay. So when that emotion comes in my body, I go to food. Isn't that interesting? Fascinating. And if you can then go, all right, I feel like that piece of chocolate cake or whatever it is. So instead of beating yourself up and going, I shouldn't be eating this is really bad, it's going to put weight on, guess what? Stress response in your body, all those extra hormones, yes, it probably will put weight on. But if you can say, I feel like the chocolate cake, it's probably not as supportive as something else, but I'm going to enjoy it, I'm going to sit with it, I'm going to savour the flavours. That way you're not in stress response. Your digestion is working, so it can analyse what's coming in and then do what it needs to do with it. Otherwise, it's going to store because your digestion is off. It's not functioning.
So we're going to have a bit of fun in just a minute with a bit of an eating exercise. You've prepared some food for me, which I can't wait to taste. But so now we're at the point where, we're going to take responsibility. Yeah. Not blame, but responsibility. I can't change the past. I can only do what I can do now and start a new page. So what are some of these techniques now, in particular maybe toward the nutrition and how we eat and mindful eating, that you can talk about? Okay, so let's look at a day and I guess the full perspective of how your body functions. So sleep is one of the most important things for your health. Sleep is probably up there as one of the most important things, a good quality sleep pattern. Consistent.
Yep.
Quality, are we talking about the same sort of time asleep and awake now? Are we talking about the things that come before to make sure we have a good night's sleep?
It is actually the whole cycle.
Okay.
So it can be one thing triggers another, and then your whole rhythm is out. So your body has a rhythm and it works with the universe.
Right.
You know. So
in the energy
yes,
of
so,
all things.
So for instance, if you eat late and then you go to bed late, you will probably have a disturbed sleep because your body starts to shut down with the sun. You can feel it. If you're actually feeling and you're connected, it's like, oh, okay, I'm feeling like I'm needing to sort of, not get into something that's going to be stimulating me.
Yeah.
And then from 9 till 2, your body regenerates. This is when the
In the
only
night
time your brain, has a chance to actually go into that deep sleep to clear some toxins, to clear heavy metals or whatever it's comes through to it. Your liver detoxes, all little dead cells are kicked out. So it's this whole detox program happening between those hours.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get to sleep at 12 o'clock, you can't get that back. You've lost your body's opportunity to start cleaning house.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got food in your belly, that means your body needs to go into your metabolism stage, your digestion, which heats you up, which then you're hot. You can't sleep because sometimes I'm hot at the night time. In the morning, your food's still in your stomach because it's been impossible to digest with the late meal. You don't feel hungry, which means you don't have breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
In the morning, your metabolism's, it's awake with the sun. So it's going, okay, what are you going to give me this morning? And it's like, oh, a cup of coffee, is that it? All my cells need good proteins and carbs, need food to give you energy, to give you clear thinking.
Right.
So your metabolism is going to be sluggish. People say they've got normally their metabolisms, that's what it is. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. We can build a strong metabolism. By lunchtime, your metabolism is at its peak, hot to trot. That's when we should have our biggest meal.
Scoff.
When the sun's the highest in the sky,
Right.
that's when your highest capacity, burning capacity is calorie burning capacity.
Okay, so
then
that should be your
we're
biggest
thinking
meal of the day?
Yes, absolutely. So we've had a cup of coffee, our body is screaming for nutrition to give us the energy that we want and the clear thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Lunchtime, it might be we've skipped a meal or something. So by afternoon, when our metabolism's had a dip, Italians do it well. They have a beautiful meal and then they go and have a siesta. They function with their body rhythm. Where then our body's pushed us to the limit saying, I need nutrition, we binge eat on whatever's around us. And then it comes up again in the evening. So that's a great time for a light meal. Mm-hmm. So sleep can start from the very beginning of the day, where how you set your day up and the choices that you make through the day can impact on your sleep. But not having a good night's sleep will then impact on the next day. You'll be more reactive. Stress response will be easier to go into stress response, which is affecting your digestion, and your immune system's off, by the way, when you're in stress response.
So, and you're just talking about the short-term impacts.
Oh, yes,
let alone the long-term.
So the long-term with what the stress response does in your body can affect every area of your body. It can lead to more severe, issues, heart attacks, strokes, all these things that build up because of the extra hormones, the inability for your immune system to function. Imagine having your immune system turned off day after day after day after day.
Right.
So when it comes to food, if we don't slow down and we aren't present in our body through the day, it's very hard to bring a quality. We can't bring truly who we are. We're just bringing this franticness from our head.
Or in the head.
What's next?
Yeah,
What's
we're
next?
not in the body. And that might be a difficult concept to understand. I know somewhat understand what you're talking about because of my interest in mindfulness. Love listening to people like Eckhart Tolle and people like that who are, in a really simple way, his teaching really revolutionised the way I
extremely body centered.
Yeah. And it's simple. I didn't realise that I was in my head all the time, and now I'm still a lot in my head, but at least I'm realising when I'm in my head, and I try to realign and just be in the body.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you explain? Can you explain what that is, being in the body?
So I guess when you are in your head, you actually are not feeling your body a lot of the time. Now, I spoke to a client the other day, and she had got to that place where she had slowed down with her food. She connected into her body. It was the first time in years where she had no pain in her gut. And when she realised that, she could feel the stress leave her gut. So she had no idea how much stress she held in her gut. So then it came time, end of the month, she's in the financial situation where she's got, she does finances for a company. She basically made a commitment, and she just said, well, body, I can't actually do what I need to do as much as I'd like to today, because I need to get all this stuff done. So she ignored what her body was communicating. It could be just that little twinge of a knee when you're sitting down to say, move your leg, or the little twinge of your back where you've been sitting too long. And we override all of this because in our head we need to get this, and this done.
Yeah.
And you'll probably relate when you're driving a car. And it's interesting when you practice this because you see so much more. When you're driving the car, you go into autopilot. Mm-hmm. It's like, what have I got to do next? And you can't even remember was that light red? Did I go through that town? Mm. You are in your head because you are not conscious of what's going around you. But if you're sitting there and you're wriggling your bum on the seat or you're feeling the steering wheel, you're actually seeing that pothole on the road. Oh, you are so present that you are noticing so much more around you. Mm. Because your thoughts are just hanging around up there to draw you in more and more and more, and it takes you out of your body. So being in your body is being fully aware of where your body is. And I know when I did some workshops for carers, because they all thought they were going mad, put your hand up if you think you're going crazy. Everyone put their hand up because they couldn't remember things. Mm. They were bumping themselves on the end of the counter. They were losing their keys. So a simple week exercise for them to slow down and actually feel the doorknob when they open the door, and actually feel when they're stepping into the car, feel themselves open the car, and the quality that was able to bring them, because being in the present moment and going, right, I've got these thoughts, I'll write them down, put them on the paper, and then I don't have to think about them. I can give all of me to what I'm doing now. And then when I move and I'm doing shopping, I'm actually fully there in my body, which means that you're able to think so much more clearly, and you can see the big picture. Mm-hmm. You run into the supermarket in your head, just grab this, you're hitting someone's trolley, you're doing all, you know when you're not in your body.
Right.
Because it's warning you because you've got bruises on you, So it's just, am I in my body? Am I actually, is the whole of me? Am I able to bring all of me? Or am I just regurgitating and just coming from this area here, and the body just has to be the life support and drag along?
Yeah, I feel the pressure to be in the mind to try and solve problems, right? Solve things. And I feel like, well, if I'm not thinking about these things, they're not going to get solved. But I've got a sneaking suspicion that it's not actually that. It's not a productive state or creative state.
No, it's not.
Because as you're saying, it's regurgitation. It's not being. From what I've heard, the being state or being in your body is much more creative. If we build that that equilibrium of being in the body and using the mind as the servant when we need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can bring much more because there's such a wisdom that comes through your body. It's like the connection to the universe. Things will pop in where you go, wow, that's amazing. And that's just being open to what's there. But if you look at the simple physiological effects in the body, so you have stress response, which is your sympathetic nervous system dominance. So you have two at the back of your neck there. Part of your nervous system is your parasympathetic nervous system and your sympathetic nervous system. When you're in stress response, which is your sympathetic nervous system, your blood pressure goes up, your digestion shuts down, your immune system shuts down, you've got the extra hormones coming into your body. Also, you're on high alert. And this is fantastic for 4 minutes. You know, you've walked onto the road, there's a truck coming, holy dooly, stress response, get away quickly, the energy goes to your legs, it's like high alert. So everyone's walking around in high alert, trying to do their job. So when we're able to take a breath, relax, allow our body to settle, come into parasympathetic dominance, well then you become more creative because you come out of that high alert. You can't think your way out of a wet paper bag when you're in sympathetic dominance.
Right.
So it doesn't give you the capacity to actually step back and solve the problem.
Okay.
You're continually, you know, what's next? I can't see my way out of this. So when you actually allow that stress response to, and there's shortcuts to get out of your stress response, to get into what they call rest and digest for a reason. It means your blood pressure comes down, your immune system's on, your digestive system's functioning. You can become more creative because you can actually see the big picture. So you can bring more to what you're doing.
Okay.
So even though, and in a stress response, it's this illusion that there's never enough time. You're running out of time, which makes you even more anxious. So when you're actually coming from your body, from a place of being truly connected, the quality you bring through allows you to do everything without having to come back and repeat it or redo it. And then you can see other ways of doing things. So you're far more productive and you come away thinking, wow, that email I just sent, I was just fully present when I did it. It wasn't something rushed. And I felt really good about what I sent. Otherwise it's, you know, and this is our body telling us when we're bumping things and wow. So my thing is, whoops, not in my body at the moment. Because I might have clipped something or dropped something, or where am I? Even when you're preparing your meal, now our body is amazing. We can't trade it in when it runs down. So even the preparation of our meals, being present and putting that beautiful energy into what you're preparing to nourish your body with. Otherwise it's this anxiety-ridden whatever you're cooking, and then you're bringing that anxiety into your body. So if you ever go to a restaurant and there's someone madly panicking out the back and it's anxiety-ridden, it's like, no, don't think this is the best place to sit down and eat, because that energy comes with the food.
It reminds me of the, you know, Master Chef judges when they say, oh, there was no love in this dish. You know, it would just look like it was thrown on the plate. And I guess that's what they're talking about. It's that centeredness. Of putting love and fun and enjoyment into what you're doing. That is quite reflective of the end result. Not only do you have a better time doing it, but you get a better result. Now, maybe that's a good, did you have anything else to
there was a study done, and this will show you how amazing it is when you're connected. So let's say you have the most nutritious food on your plate. You're going and doing all this exercise and you're putting on weight. And it's like, what's going on? Like, I'm doing everything right. I've got healthy food and I'm exercising. But you're not present. You're not awake at the plate. Your mind's somewhere else. You haven't slowed down. You're eating it when you're running out the door, or it's, you know, fast food, fast eating, everything's fast. And you're putting on weight because your digestion's not on, which means probably the food's going down and your belly's going, oh my goodness, I'm full. And your brain's going, what the heck? You didn't tell me I was eating. Oh, you were eating? You know, and you need to eat more because there was no satisfaction. So when you consider 40% of your digestion which is called the cephalic phase of digestion, is your head phase of digestion. Now, what that is, it is seeing the food, your smell, your taste, your texture, and your pleasure. So how many times do we eat in front of the television and there's none of that? So that's 40% of your digestion, and it's that part of your digestion which gets the enzymes going, which opens you up to your digestive system functioning, analysing the food. So when people are eating a healthy meal and they're not actually present with their food and they're not connected into their body, that means the nutritional part of that food is probably all being excreted and everything else is being stored, because what happens in stress? I don't know what's going on down there, but we need to shut down everything because, and usually anything that you feel is hazardous or the toxins will get stored in fat. So when you're saying, I shouldn't be eating this chocolate cake, or it's going to put on weight, the brain's going, oh, something hazardous, shut down, needs to be stored, because toxins are stored in fat to stop them from going to your major organs. So when you lose a whole lot of weight, you need to drink a lot of water because the toxins are coming out and being flushed out of your system.
And that's really what your message is in the end of the day, is everything that you do has an impact, right?
Absolutely.
Do, think,
Yep.
has an impact on your overall. It's not sort of compartmentalised like...
It's not just one thing. It's really understanding how amazing we are. We don't need to be in comparison with anyone else. We have our own flavour to bring to the world. We have our own shining light that comes from our connection from within. It doesn't have to be religiously based. It's just we have you can't reproduce what we walk around in. We can't do it. So when we deny ourselves of actually connecting to who we are and we're trying to be someone else, it's really tough to be someone else. We're denying the world of what we bring to it and the flavour that we bring. So everything that we do that affects our body is going to come out in some way. It's almost like having a rash come up and you're going, well, I need to put something on it. But it's like, well, how have we been living? What have we been doing? Why is our body needing to communicate this way? Is it something that we have been eating? It could be food related, but quite often it could be, an energetic perspective that we are holding back on forgiveness for somebody, or there's so many different things.
And those emotions can affect the way we digest, what we eat.
If we've had trauma in our past, that is held within our body. That's a memory within our body. And until we can actually emotionally release that, well, then our body's still back and we are still a victim to that. So allowing that to let go and have forgiveness for that. And I'm not saying forgive someone's actions. It's forgiving the essence of that person for whatever brought them to that action, who knows. Because that's still holding in your body, and unforgiveness in your body is affecting your health. So when you forgive, it's not anything to do with the other person. It's actually supporting you to heal.
It's interesting. I've also interviewed a friend and an energy worker, acupuncturist, doctor of Chinese medicine, and he said to that effect, he said, when people come to him and say, I've got this problem or whatever, he doesn't just treat the body, but people come with PTSD and all this sort of things. And when they say, talk about the problem, he says, where do you feel it in your body?
Yes. Yeah.
And he said they always know where they feel it in their body. Maybe they've never even thought about it before, but they can always pinpoint it.
It's just connecting. It's connecting what the symptom is to you are. And it's a great thing to lay in bed at night, and if you do a meditation, it's just basically closing your eyes and then just feeling into, what does my fingers feel like, what do my arms feel like, is there something calling in my body? Is there a communication coming from somewhere? And generally it's a great meditation because it just relaxes you just to go through your body and feel into your body. and rather than let your brain go mad with what you've got to do tomorrow or what you should have said today or, you know. And another big thing for women in particular is the beating up of ourselves about our body.
Yes.
You know, and it's so beautiful to get someone to the point where they can look in the mirror in their own eyes and see their own beautiful shining light, because the surface of us, the outside, what we see, is just such a small percentage of who we are, yet so much energy goes into, you know, it might be a little bit of a sag on the arm or something on the leg and wanting to be perfect, but there's no perfect. So when we go into comparison, so much self-attack in the body. Yeah. And we can store weight. The body stores weight for protection. So, you know, there's so much into everything we think, everything we do, everything we say, every movement we make has a physiological effect on our body. And if you put your hand, if everyone puts their hand on their chest, so put your hand on your chest and then just say something.
Orange.
Can you feel the vibration in your body?
Yeah.
So when you say something with a harsh intent, that vibration goes into your body and that affects your body. If you walk through the house like I used to, like an elephant, you could hear me coming, that whole vibration goes up through your body. It's very harsh. So it's really becoming very gentle with your body.
Right.
And connecting in with gentleness. So when I touch my hand, this finger feels a sensation, but guess what? This hand feels a sensation. So there's two things going on here. The feeling from this hand, if I touch your hand, you're getting one sensation, but then when you touch someone else, you're getting another sensation.
Right.
So it's being gentle with your body and feeling into it. And women, when I work with women, they are able to go to the fridge, look in the fridge and go, what do I feel like? And the body communicates. You know, but a lot of us will go, what do I feel like? Oh, I feel like fish and salad. I just, you know, and then you go to the restaurant and you go, lasagna looks good. So all of a sudden the head's taken over and you've chopped off that communication to the body.
Yeah, what do I feel like, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's all about feel.
It's interesting you talk about how women often see their bodies, but as a man, it can often feel like the masculine energy is to kind of disassociate and I don't want to talk about my body. You know, what's that? It kind of feels a little bit soft and feminine or something, and it's sort of a thing that we often, you know, reject, I guess.
And it's so sad, and that really comes from, as children, you fall, if a little girl falls over, there's a little bit more attention paid to softness and gentleness. If a boy falls over, if he's 3 years old or 2 years old, no, get up, you're tough, you're tough. So what we've actually done with our children, our men in particular, is we've stopped them feeling true emotions. And we wonder why we have a population where a lot of men won't show their emotions, because it's been beaten out of them that they have to be tough. But everyone has male and female within their body. And a very good example that I can relay is I've been very physical with my body and I've lost a few body parts through it. So I've learnt the hard way is to connect into your body and be more gentle, where I've done, you know, gardening to a masculine point. So all of my injuries were on my right side, which is your male side. So I would have knee issue, I'd have an ankle issue, I'd have a bush that scratched me right up the side where it was just having to release that male dominant energy. So now I've learned that I actually have to tap into my femaleness more. And men, you know, it's fantastic to see a man that is able to actually share his emotions, because that's a part of who he is. We all have male and we all have femaleness in our body.
But that feels like weakness.
Yeah, and it's actually a strength.
I have to remind myself all the time, hey, you know, no, this isn't weak, to talk about how I'm feeling and to tap into how I'm feeling.
And look at the result of not doing that.
It's
the suicides and you know, and the health conditions and all of those things for not actually expressing the truth, not being able to express your emotions. And there's nothing more beautiful to see a man expressing his emotions and to be able to stand there and shed a tear and not actually give a fig about anyone else because that's how he feels, you know.
It's that strength in vulnerability.
It's a part of your health, you know. If you're a man and you're not actually allowing yourself to feel the emotion or to express the emotion, just know that holding that in your body is going to actually bring about dis-ease in your body. And there will be a symptom that will come, but it'll be very hard to actually connect it with what the true cause is.
Yep.
Unless you're connecting into your body. So let's do an eating exercise.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Awesome.
Now.
So you're a cook as well. I mean, a chef, I should say.
Yeah, I've done, we had a health retreat where we were looking after people that came with lots of different health options, I suppose. But one of those, we did some workshops, some raw food workshops. So try that one. So what we're going to try is what I call a magnesium boost slice.
Okay, I'll just move your mic there so it's more awesome. Okay.
So the idea of what we'll do now is we'll just do
a
magnesium boost slice.
Okay. If you're listening on the audio now, you want to tune into the YouTube channel and check this out.
So it's actually, in reality, it's a chocolate slice. Ooh. So just take a little bit to start with because
this one? There's two types in here. Is it like a
that's like
summer roll.
So what I want you to do
go, people.
is close your eyes, put it in your mouth.
Okay.
And then
close my eyes.
Close your eyes.
So this is how we should eat. This
is a mindful eating, and this will give you so if anyone at home has got something, doesn't matter what it is it's a way of really connecting in with the food and your body. So you put it in your mouth and then you just slowly work your way through it. Close your eyes, feel the textures, feel the taste, see if you can pick what's in it and actually really connect with the ingredients because I want you to tell me what's in it.
Okay, I hope I like it because it's got to look awkward.
It's it's actually one of my favourites.
Awesome. And so, and what else am I? You just going to?
So right? You're just feeling into the taste, the textures, and the flavours. So to get your digestion working and functioning, one of the things is this cephalic phase of digestion, which is being present with your food.
Okay.
So it's looking at it and going, wow, that looks really interesting. And I'm not saying don't have a conversation when you eat, but it's just remaining connected and going, oh, have you tasted what's on your plate? This is amazing.
Right.
And not going into arguments and back into stress.
Yeah.
So then you actually start to taste the food.
Right. Okay. So here we go. All right.
So it's just really feeling in where's the texture coming from, what's in it, is there a smoothness, is there a roughness, can I pick some flavours? And it's like I'm putting something in my body. Wouldn't it be great to actually taste what I'm putting in my body?
Yep. So I'm tasting the cacao or whatever it might be, the chocolatey flavour. There's a smoothness, like a moussiness.
Yep.
As well as the crunch of the base. It's got some sort of nuts and coconut maybe.
No coconut.
Oh, okay, there you go. That's really, really nice.
So that's really good magnesium in that, and it's also good selenium.
And what's the benefit of magnesium and selenium?
So I guess if anyone experiences cramps, they'll probably relate to the fact that they might rub some magnesium on them or might have a magnesium bath or something like that. What we don't realise is magnesium is an amazing workhorse in our body. So whenever there's any stress, magnesium comes to the rescue. We use magnesium all the time, especially if there's stress response happening. So we're pretty much depleted in magnesium. Our soils don't have a lot.
Pretty much everybody.
Yep. So part of the base of that is Brazil nuts. So there's Brazil nut in the base, almonds in the base, and organic medjool dates. So almonds have calcium, Brazil nuts have magnesium. Together, they support each other.
Okay.
So when you don't have the mineral salts in your body, and magnesium in particular, your body won't absorb water. So it helps water across into your cells. And we need at least 2 litres of water a day if you're not active. So if you're active, more.
Okay.
So some people won't drink water because they run to the toilet all the time. If that's the case, you probably need to have some mineral salts and some magnesium. So with that example of eating, what was the difference eating like that?
Well, I really enjoy the texture. I mean, and it's also, I mean, there's different textures in that. So it's not all just like a McDonald's burger where it's kind of all sort of, there's different things in there, but there's not really any.
Usually people
texture.
eat that pretty quickly and they don't taste it.
No.
So
it's just one sort of McDonald's-y flavour and that's
that's it.
And it doesn't matter how many different combinations of burgers they've got, they kind of all taste the same. I'm just going to lick my fingers here. You know, and I'm feeling quite like I really enjoyed that, and I'm going to hopefully sneak that home.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
No, find a way anyway. But I don't. But I feel like I could go another one. But actually, that was really enjoyable.
Yeah, and
savor
that's the
that
secret.
flavour.
So if anyone wants to know how to not overeat, because that's a big problem. And one of my clients this week, she one of her big goals was to not overeat. And the first week, she had 95% success rate of not overeating. That was just in 1 week.
Wow.
And the secret was slowing down with food. When you're in stress response, you don't get the pleasure, so your brain's continuing to tell you to eat. So when you look at people that have a huge meal and then they're still hungry, that's because they haven't been present with their food and they haven't had the pleasure and the whole experience of eating. So when you're eating slowly, it can go to your tummy and there's eating to a point of energy where you go, wow, that feels amazing. I feel full. I could have another mouthful, but I'm actually satisfied.
I'm actually, yeah.
So if you had another mouthful,
Still enjoying it.
you then would have gone, now I'm tired. You know, so it's slowing down that gives you the pleasure that you can get that pleasure out of one little grape.
Yeah.
And think, oh, I don't need any more. But what normally happens to us is we're in stress response. We eat, we're not tasting, so we continue to eat. So someone can eat a whole block of chocolate and actually still be looking for something else because you're looking for the satisfaction.
Okay.
So if you've got someone that's a chocolate addict that goes, I've got to give up chocolate, and you think, well, I don't really eat much, but just be present with it, and they can slow down and savour that piece of chocolate. They've got the pleasure with it. And I had one client that was big on a big block of chocolate. She slowed down. She started to get really used to being present with her food. She bought a box of chocolate. She was travelling 2 hours. She had one piece in the present moment, enjoyed every bit of it, and then the rest of the block of her chocolate sat on the seat all the way down and all the way back. She was satisfied. So we're looking for satisfaction, which is a part of our digestion, the actual pleasure.
Yeah.
So you've hit the nail on the head where you say, well, that was satisfying. I don't feel like I need to have another piece.
Yeah.
And that will actually support you to not overeat. Right.
And I'm guessing that when you start to be more mindful and you're eating stuff that's not so good, you're probably more likely to not get the enjoyment out of it. I mean, we've talked about the sort of one-dimensional flavour of a McDonald's burger, but that kind of goes to saying with a cracker or whatever. It's
absolutely. So what
really
you're doing again
you're thinking about it.
is you're bringing all your senses into that. So I would challenge anybody to go to McDonald's, get their favourite hamburger. It's not a matter of not doing or I'm bad or I'm good. It's curiosity. It's really becoming observant. So you get your hamburger, you take a few breaths. Actually, we'll do that. Let's shortcut out of stress response.
Can we get a hamburger in here, please? Thank you.
Let's shortcut out of stress response. We're on the go. We're doing stuff. We're sitting down for our coffee. We're sitting down for our meal. Anytime you go to sit down, one of the biggest areas that we need to support ourselves with is to clear this and become more connected into our body.
Right.
So
and how we start that is really breath is
so
quite important.
if we take a breath, hold it for a few seconds, and then let it out. So it's like, hold it, and when you let it out, let your shoulders drop. You can feel the relaxation. You can feel the stress move away. So it's like, hold for a few seconds, and then... And when you start to do this, if you can let out a little bit more air than what you've drawn in, it gets rid of any stale air in your tummy. So if you can do that a couple of times just to clear what you've brought with you to the table, because it's who are we when we eat? Are we in stress? Are we bringing an argument to the table? Are we, what are we doing when we come to the table? Well, no, we're here. The question is, why do we eat? Hopefully people will now be coming, especially after COVID, more in tune with how important it is to have our health. We eat to provide ourselves with nutrition, really, to keep our vehicle going, like putting petrol in the car.
But how you've said is we digest that is also pleasure and all that sort of stuff.
Everything's involved. So when we put petrol in the car, do we go to the fastest nozzle possible and then it all spits out because it's going in too quickly? Or do we put it in slowly so it can actually draw it in, which is what we need to do with our food. Put it in slowly. So the next part of our digestion, let's look at the breath and where it goes. So if you take a big breath, where's the air going?
Well, partly in my stomach and partly in my chest.
Yeah. So for people in stress, we shallow breathe. Everything's chest orientated.
Right.
So when you have a fire, if you have it in a closed, confined area with no oxygen, it will not burn. So we need to the lining of our stomach is one of the biggest oxygen users in our body. And they talk about burning calorie. All that is combustion. So if we don't have air in our tummy, we can't get the calorie burning that everyone desires. So when you breathe in, push your stomach out and then breathe into your stomach. So if we can practice that through the day and get that rhythm, our normal rhythm, rather than stomach in, chest out.
Yeah, and is this through the nose as well?
I generally do it through the nose. You can either breathe out through the mouth, or if you're doing that sort of thing, it's good to come out through the mouth. Pardon me. If you're doing like gentle breathing exercises, just in through the nose and then gently out through the mouth. But for digestion, through the day, probably don't do it too much when you're driving in the car to start with, because you might get a bit lightheaded because you haven't had that much oxygen for a while.
Right.
And people can lose inches off their waist just by changing their breathing and getting that oxygen in there, because it's burning the fuel, burning the calories. So if you can do that before you start to eat, a few breaths, shortcut out of stress, clear your mind and go, no, I'll come back to that. I'm just going to give myself 15 minutes to sit and enjoy what I'm going to provide my body with, because that, in essence, is all your body's got to create good health and to create energy for you and to create clear thinking.
Right.
So it's like putting dirty fuel into a car. It's like putting sugar into a car. It's like putting, the car is going to start to break down.
Yeah. Now, I can't help but see those other summer roll type things.
Yeah, they're just medjool dates with a bit of coconut around them.
Okay.
So now if you take a piece of that...
I thought you'd never ask.
To me, now, because my diet's quite fine-tuned, it is extremely sweet. It's got no sugar in it, but it's extremely sweet. So medjool dates are a fantastic thing to add to recipes if you're looking to get away from the processed sugars.
It is. I limit my sugar intake, and so, not to the extent that I know I probably could and should, but that is very, very sweet.
Yeah, so, artificial sugar, artificial sweeteners and the processed sugars definitely are acidic in the body. And that's another thing as well. When you're in stress response, so much chemical reaction in your body and your body becomes acidic. And that's where disease lives. Disease can't live in an alkaline body.
Right.
So, all the cancers and different things like that love acidic bodies. Okay. So if you're having more acidic foods, you need to bring more alkaline foods in, which is like your greens, pawpaws alkalining, pineapple's alkalining in the body, believe it or not. Okay. Lemon, a little bit of lemon in water's alkalining in the body, even though it's acidic outside of the body. So, there's a whole lot of things you can do to support your body. But definitely sugars create illness in the body because it's an acidic nature that you're bringing into the body. And, it's the slowing down. We buy our food. We spend our money on food. It's basically coming back to have a beautiful relationship with food and a beautiful relationship with your body. And that's what your foundation of health is. And where you were saying about McDonald's, what happens with the body once you start bringing in, so the next part of digestion and good metabolism and health is quality.
Right.
And we have one body and we need to stand up and go, you know what, I'm only going to put quality in here because I want quality out. I can't get quality out if I put crap in.
Yeah.
So it's quality. And then when you start slowing down, your body will start calling for quality. So slowing down with McDonald's, you are going to taste the oils, you're going to taste the sugar in the bun, you're going, or I shouldn't say any particular brand, slowing down with a fast food object.
Yes. Sorry, McDonald's.
Might have to cut that one.
You did say you can still have your McDonald's.
Yeah, it's just slowing down and being present because that brings the flavours of that particular food.
Yeah.
Now, if I put fast food chips in my mouth and chewed them and slowed down with them and they became a gluggy blob, you taste this potato, carby potato, and my throat literally closes over. It's like going, there's no way you're going to put that down there.
Yeah.
So it brings in all your senses.
Absolutely. Kerrie, have you had success with allergies? I know that many people, and not just allergies, but people who they feel like, this sort of food just doesn't agree with me.
Yeah. And allergies generally are a build-up in the body from multiple things. So it's just your body's not coping, your liver's not coping, which means you end up becoming allergic to everything. But when you're slowing down and when you start to bring in quality, you will find, what I've found with clients is all of a sudden they're able to have, that's not affecting me now. Because they're actually slowing down, they're connecting into their body as to what actually is going on. They're allowing that time for their liver to actually start to release some toxins and start to get on top of things. But when we're continuously plugging stuff in, which is the liver's got a hold, all your pesticides and the things that come with your sprayed fruits and all the colourings and preservatives, and the liver's holding them because it's protecting us. So we're not giving it that break to actually allow it to start clear out. So then we start to become allergic to a lot of different things, which we wouldn't normally.
Okay.
So, yeah, clients have been able to come back to a clean diet and being able to eat what they feel to eat because their body's pretty much alerted them, well, that's not supportive. That's not supportive. So you don't have to count calories. You don't have to worry about diets. It's basically just connecting in because your body's different to everyone else's. So it's really connecting in and feeling, what does that feel like? It felt really good, but now it feels really sluggish in the afternoon. It didn't feel good at all, and I didn't really want to swallow it. So it's allowing the body to communicate and have some feedback.
That's fascinating. I know it's one of your favourite words.
I know.
I say it honestly, just fascinating. And what I love about what you're talking about is that this doesn't cost a thing.
No.
You can start this now. One of the challenges I know that I and others have is loving your body, because so much of what you've experienced in your body has been not nice, and you want to, and there's this rejection of of your body and not wanting to be in your body because it's painful.
Yeah. And I guess probably the turning point for a lot of people is understanding that the body is trying to protect you, and ailments and illnesses is a way of clearing, where the body is and how we've been living up to a certain point, or trauma that's come into the body. So if we can look at our body as our best friend, it sticks with us through thick or thin, no matter how much we bestow upon it, good or bad, it is there trying to protect us. But at some stage it has to clear how we're living, or trauma that's come in, or how we feel about ourselves, or all of these things that compound into a symptom in the body. So if we can get past we wanting to look like someone else or be like someone else, and go, wow, I am me, I am amazing, my body is just out of this world, really. It's the most amazing vehicle that I'm walking around in. Yes, there are symptoms and things there, but that's just the communication for me to look at how I am living and what I can do to support my body better. And really coming to a place where you appreciate and just want to nurture and look after your body, so that then you can take it to a different level of health, which then supports you to do more of what you want to do. But we come from here going, I think I need a fix. We're not broken. We're actually not broken. Your body's just communicating in a different way to clear things. And it's us connecting into that to see what we can do to support our body to be as healthy as it can be.
Awesome. Now, Kerrie, what are some ways in which people can maybe engage or find out more about yourself, maybe utilise your services both here on the Gold Coast, Australia, and anywhere?
Globally, yeah. Well, my website's truebodyconnection.com. On there I offer a free 30-minute consultation, or like a discovery consultation. I'm happy to extend that to a 60-minute, because I know 30 minutes is not long, but at least in 60 minutes I get an understanding of where someone's coming from and can offer a starting point for them.
Yeah.
They don't need to then do more with me if they don't feel to, but it's a great connection. That would be the best way. And I think to start with, even not going there, is just for people just to start slowing down and connecting with their food, bringing more breath into their body, just being in awareness of what's happening around them, and just more quality. And thoughts. We haven't even touched on thoughts. That's
for the next episode.
A day in itself.
Let's do that in a couple of months' time.
Yeah,
because
the power of thought. The only one thing I'll leave you with is thought, is because there can be so powerful and lead to lots of different things. Is a thought is just a thought. That is it. We have, I call them random bubbles of suggestion pop into our head continuously. There is no power to them. They can't determine the future. They can't hurt anyone. They can't do anything until you take ownership of them. Then it becomes a different story. You give power to that thought. And if it's a negative thought that's I'm bad, I can't do anything, you've opened the door to all its relatives coming in, then continuing that thought to process down into a spiral. And we can only think of one thing at a time. We can only do one thing at a time. So if we have a thought that comes at us that is not supportive, it's just a thought. So it's like, no, I don't want to take ownership of you. You just move in a different way, or you go, right, okay, now I'm doing this. You can't have two things happening at once.
Right.
And just very quickly, there was a survey done with someone drinking, two people drinking water, and they had 2 nutrients in it, and I'm trying to think what they were. So they were allowed to drink. They just drank that glass in peace with their just enjoying their drink. And the nutrients were measured in their body, 100% absorption. Then they were put there with a multi-conversation, 2 people conversing, just saying things to you at the same time.
Right.
They then drank the water, 0% absorbed.
Oh, gosh.
So
Wow.
it just goes to show the power of being aware, the power of being present, and the power to say, not taking ownership of that thought, that's not me. You know, there's so much on thought. It's a biggie.
Powerful. Well, Kerrie, it's been so good to have you in the studio today. I'm I'm excited about getting this information out to people who, you know, wanting to go to that next level in not only their health but their lives, and try to, you know, as you said, take control or take responsibility.
Take back
for your health.
Control by taking responsibility.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Through these simple things, and this is not really just nutrition and just eating. This is a life impacting thing. This is being in your body and being present and mindful, using your mind as the servant when you need it rather than the master, and how you've talked about it impacting your digestion and everything, blood pressure, all that sort of stuff, affecting your sleep. This is potentially life-changing stuff.
It is, and that's why I like working with it, because it's not, you can go on a diet, and like one client lost 25 kilo and gained it back. And then she went on this huge exercise program, lost 25 kilo and gained it back. So if it was just about diet or it was just about exercise, we wouldn't have the situation in humanity that we've got, where we have a non-existent relationship with food because we're scared of it, because we feel that that's the problem, and it's not. And often when you actually just come back to supporting yourself to become healthy, that is the focus and the target. If it's just about weight, you'll make all the wrong decisions. It'll be skinny this, skinny that. You'll be depriving your body, and your body will actually rebel against that. So it can cope for a certain amount of time, and then you'll start binging because it'll be pushing for that nutrient value that it needs. So coming from a very holistic approach of let's just look at how we can live better, how we can support our body, how we can live from our body, because it is, we're in this. We need to be fully connected to everything and connect to what we're actually supporting ourselves with.
Yeah.
The weight will take care of itself. You know, I've had clients that have come in and said, I want to lose this much weight, and we go, all right, acknowledge that, park it, no diet, no scales, that's it, let's work on health. And then they get so excited about being able to support their body, they forget about the weight, because they'll feel it, they don't need to be on the scales. And then at the end of, I do 9-week workshops, they go, oh, this is better, I'm sleeping better, I'm not losing my hair, this is better, oh. And wouldn't you know it, I lost this much weight. And it was what they actually allocated in the beginning, but we weren't focusing on weight at all. Just all about health.
Fantastic.
You know, their communication with their family got better because they were sitting up at the table eating rather than being distracted by the television. Just it changed their life. Changed their life. So it just wasn't about food.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing all your experience and knowledge
and
your passion for this. It's quite clear that this is not just a job for you. This is
not at all.
This is a life goal, a life mission to help people. And if you are in the Gold Coast or anywhere really and want to talk to Kerrie, right? You do remote.
Yes, I do Zoom.
Zoom.
Connect with me online, truebodyconnection.com.
Yeah.
We have a health and wellness centre at Palm Beach.
Yeah.
That we can connect, so anywhere in the world,
good
really. Good
reason for a holiday in the Gold Coast.
Yeah, and we might try to get the link to the...
There's some good articles there. Oh, link to the
recipe on your YouTube or something, in case.
Absolutely.
You want.
This one was a bit sweet for me, but this one,
I
my
can't
goodness, this was so good. What was this one again?
So this one here is your...
Oh, man.
Your almonds, your medjool date, and I use organic with everything, and your Brazil nuts and the base.
Okay.
Now the centre, beautiful chocolate flavour, is avocado,
mousse.
cup of spinach,
Avocado, spinach.
avocado,
Wow.
spinach, cacao, organic maple syrup. And what gives it the mousse flavour is the sunflower lecithin.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so I don't use soy, but sunflower lecithin. And on top, you've just got your ground pepita seeds and sunflower seeds. So lots of things with magnesium. Cacao's magnesium, the pepita seeds, magnesium.
So yeah, recipe, I mean, on your website, if you had
Yeah,
that,
well, this is on our old website
Okay.
where we had our health retreat. But so if I give you the link, well, there's another 2 pages of recipes there that they can click into as well.
And some other great blog articles.
On truebodyconnection.com.
Too.
Yep.
Yeah. So go get it, guys. And look, you can't change the past, but you can make a new start every moment, right?
Yeah.
A new start. And if you can take the responsibility for your health without blame, listening to the body, and experience the joy of being present. And from what Kerrie's saying, it's going to change.
Your life will change, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Kerrie.
Thank
All the
you,
best,
my
eh?
pleasure.